All right, guys, I'm going to take the guesswork out of ISO 20022. When are the dates that ISO is going live, in which countries, which payment systems? I have it all for you. I'm taking the guesswork out of this, and you won't believe ISO is actually already live in several key places, but it will be live globally this year. Let's go ahead and get into this information. First, I need to show you this.
What exactly is ISO 20022? Well, it's a new global standard for financial messaging that is making waves in the industry. Basically, it helps financial institutions securely and efficiently exchange information with each other. It was created by the International Organization for Standardization, or ISO, an independent, non-governmental international group that sets international standards for things like quality and security management. If you ever sent a wire transfer, you maybe heard of another messaging standard called SWIFT. It's similar to 20022, but there are some key differences between the two, like the data format, level of detail, and security features. SWIFT uses its own format, while 20022 uses XML, which is more flexible and easier to integrate. Some central banks and financial regulators have already required the use of ISO 20022 for specific systems and applications. For example, the European Payments Council has set a deadline for 2025 for all SEPA payments to use 20022, while the Federal Reserve in the US is encouraging financial institutions to adopt it by 2023. So what does this mean for digital currencies? ISO 20022 has the potential to play a key role in the development and implementations of CBDCs, as it provides a flexible and standardized framework for financial messaging that ensures consistency and interoperability between systems. Adopting ISO 20022 could increase the use of cryptocurrencies that are compliant with it. Two cryptocurrencies that are members of the ISO 20022 standards body are Ripple's XRP and Stellar Lumens. Recognizing the value of ISO 20022 messaging and its potential to transform the financial industry, Strong has utilized the—
All right, let's keep it going. So there's also this information coming out of, people are saying ISO has nothing to do with XRP, and people are saying it has everything to do with it. Okay, let's just go through what this information is that Smoke was able to come up. I'll play the video after we go ahead and read these, articles here. So it says, cryptocurrencies meet the ISO 20022 standard. However, the recent developments show that cryptocurrencies are beginning to adapt the globally recognized and established ISO 20022 standard for exchange of financial messages, improve interoperability with traditional financial systems while increasing acceptance and trust in cryptocurrencies. It also talks about the advantages. ISO 20022 creates a globally recognized framework for the exchange of messages and cross-border payments, including cryptocurrencies that can be added to these rich data messages. Improve compliance. We know compliance is a big thing. Compliance with ISO can help cryptocurrencies meet regulatory requirements, integration with central banks and financial institutions. It also talks about like different examples. We all know kind of, Algorand, Hedera, Aid, Quant, Ripple, XLM, XDC, just to name a few assets, and step towards mainstream adoption. I'm not going to read that to you, but if you wanted to pause it and read that yourself, please do so. This does talk about it is concerted effort to thrust their token XRP to the forefront of the international finance. Once one of the key points, Ripple's blockchain is on-demand liquidity. They provide a token whereby one can achieve nearly instant settlements by using their token as a middle between jurisdictions and transactions. And then, of course, this is a little bit more about Ripple and ISO. Let me play this.
I care.
Pegah Sotani is head of payments products at Ripple. I'd love to interview her one day. Very difficult to get a hold of some of these Ripple people. But let me go ahead and play. She's going to give you how she sees ISO and data compliance helping this movement to this new standard.
If I care. In today's payment world, the standards are really different around the world. So if you're using the SWIFT system or TIPS in Europe or Fed in US, you follow a different protocol. In addition, the data that you can transfer, the richness of that data is really limited. So what you get is a bunch of closed networks that don't speak to each other, and unstructured data that's opaque. So there's a lot of manual intervention and ultimately a really poor payment experience. With ISO 20022, these problems will be solved. So ISO 20022 is a global standard for financial information exchange. This enables interoperability between different systems, straight-through processing of payments, and rich data transfer. And it'll also foster competition because it's open and flexible. At Ripple, we've been aligned with ISO 20022 from day one. We've always recognized that this is the direction of payments and it'll be better for everyone. And we were really a first mover on that front. We've also joined the standard body to help contribute to how payments will shape in the future. Going back to your point around security, Ripple's also really committed to the highest standards in safety, privacy, and security. And a testament to this is that we have our SOC 2 certification. For those not very familiar with SOC 2 reports give really valuable information about an organization's security capabilities. So each of their customers and users can have confidence in that service, which means that anyone using Ripple's solution knows that we adhere to the most modern security and privacy standards. And in line with that, we've also received our SOC 2 Type 2 report. So not only do we have the policies and processes in place around various criteria related to security, availability, and the integrity of the system, but also that we've been doing so consistently for a period of time.
All right, now let me show you this. So here is a breakdown. So I wanted to know ISO 20022 implementation dates globally. So here it is. So some of this stuff has already passed. Some of it is yet to pass. So here we go. March 2023, Swift, start of migration for cross-border CBPR plus coexistence with MT messages until November 2025. April 2024, US CHIPS Clearinghouse Interbank Payment System migrated to ISO 20022 already. You have FedWire that is scheduled for July 14th, 2025. FedWire Fund Service adopts ISO in a single day cut over. And then, of course, globally, Swift, November 2025, the end of the coexistence period. ISO 20022 becomes sole standard for cross-border payments. Man, that could have a big impact on a cryptocurrency at the end of this, hopefully. November 2025, you also have major PMIs. All major payment market infrastructures have to be adopted or have to have adopted ISO 20022 by November. And then, of course, CHAPS was June 2023. March 2023 was Eurozone Target 2 and SEPA. March 2023 was Canada Links. And then, of course, live Hong Kong Chats Euro 1 already operating on ISO. So you can see that a lot of the world's payment systems have already updated, but maybe aren't quite using it to its full extent, or they're not using it with cryptocurrency just yet. Remember, ISO, you can include cryptocurrency as part of the message for settlement. All right. And then you also have this video is going to show you how Ripple video mentions how settlement is enabled through CGI, Volante partnerships, how it can XRP be used by third-party relationships without Swift relationships, right? And so we look at things like this, and I played this video in the past, you know, Temenos, right? Temenos is another big connector. I just want to show you a little.
This example, two banks use a correspondent bank to route their payments. Xcurrent includes Messenger, which is used to coordinate information exchange between the banks. And the ILP ledger uses the interledger protocol to coordinate funds movement between institutions to settle the payment. Xcurrent ingests existing message formats like SwiftFin or ISO20022 through a translation layer, such as CGI's Intelligent Gateway or Volante's Volpay. Let's follow one payment through the entire payment flow. First, the translation layer parses the message and collects necessary information to initiate the payment. Here you see that Alice in the US wants to send money to Bob in Germany. She wants Bob to receive 500 euros. Messenger communicates with the correspondent and beneficiary banks to obtain their payment processing fees and total cost. Next, pre-transaction validation takes place. This includes compliance screening and account verification checks. Since all banks have the necessary facts, they can pre-validate the payment even before funds move to ensure high straight-through processing rates. Now it's time to coordinate funds flow across the private ILP ledgers of these three different institutions. In this example, the originating bank has a Nostro account with the correspondent bank, and the beneficiary bank is using a third-party liquidity provider to connect in with the correspondent bank. To begin the settlement process, Ripple coordinates a hold on the funds across all three ledgers. The ILP ledgers generate cryptographic signatures to verify that the funds are committed to the transaction. Then, the funds are simultaneously released across the three ledgers. This process ensures no settlement risk. The payment either executes or fails. Upon completion, Ripple provides a confirmation message to all counterparties. The entire payment process across multiple banks takes seconds and provides end-to-end visibility into the transaction while increasing processing rates and lowering operational costs.
I'm so happy to be working with Apex.Exchange. Guys, listen, 2017 they were created, no KYC requirements. Yes, you can use them in the United States. They are a super powered DEX, $62.7 billion in total trading volume. They've almost done 90 million trades. Open interest of 17.42 million. Here is the UI. Tons of really great information at your fingertips so you can be the star trader that you are meant to be. Embark on your decentralized trading journey. If you're trading any of these high ticket cryptocurrencies, or if you're looking to trade some newer type meme coins or other AI agents, they've got you covered. Seamless multi-chain trading with low fees. They have a full suite of trading products for you as well. You can maximize your returns by only paying, and so maker is 0.002, taker is 0.005. You also have some incredible 24-hour volume. Look at this, $355 million. I have been working with Apex Exchange now for several weeks. There's up to $30,000 that you can get today in deposit, welcome earnings, and cash. Apex always has some really cool additional things that you can earn. You got to sign up. You got to deposit and earn, and you can refer friends just like I am doing here. Yes, you can trade XRP, spot, or futures. It is one of the cleanest DEXs that I have seen. I'm really excited to be working with them, guys. Link down in the description. Support me today by taking a look at Apex. I really appreciate it. See you out there. Aloha. There you go. So that's how it's used, the front to back. I thought that was a great video to show you that. You also have Project Nexus. Is standardizing the way international payment systems connect. They use ISO20022 standards and open API. And then this talks about ACI, Ripple, XRP, Monetary Authority of Singapore, and FPS. Let me play it.
Nexus aims to standardize the way IPS systems connect to each other to reduce technical complexity and harmonize the legal scheme and business arrangements required. Importantly, we do leverage existing standards such as ISO20022 and open APIs. Each instant payment system would run a Nexus gateway in their respective jurisdiction, and is responsible for integration with that domestic network and local operations. Last but not least, Nexus is designed to broker connections not just between instant payment rails, but also between the value-added services such as mobile phone proxy overlay services, or potentially in the future, even QR resolution services. Nexus aims to standardize the way IPS systems connect to each other to reduce technical.
All right, let's keep it going. And then last but not least, you also have, Federal Reserve Services, ISO 20022. July 14th is the date I am seeing. You also have a mixed bag of information, Ripple, Basel III, Swift, BRICS, ISO 20022. We understand that ISO is one piece of the puzzle. A Basel III framework for banks and Basel framework so banks understand what cryptos they can hold onto, which they can offer. This is all going to be extremely important. This is Basel III requirements for crypto. You have Group 1, Group 2, infrastructure risk add-on, stablecoin requirements, exposure limits, and other requirements. If you want to pause the video and take a look at what those are specifically, please do. And you know what I noticed about these timelines? A lot of these timelines went to 25 or 26. We're like 4 months already into 25. Each day, each week, each month, we get closer to all of this being finished and behind us, right? We haven't seen too many, 27, 28, 29, 30 charts. So once we get through this ISO implementation and Basel framework, are we there? Will banks start offering crypto custody to customers? And what will that look like globally in the United States? I'm really excited to take a look at. And then, there are a few other things that, countries and, institutions, trading partners are looking for. And I always thought this was a great video to bring in here. So, here is 1119 ISO 20022 XRP. Listen to what Raoul Paul is saying here.
UK says, forget it, we'll do it. It became what's known as the Eurodollar market, which is the overseas market for dollar borrowing and lending. That becomes we don't know the size of it, but let's call it a $400 trillion market.
Whoa.
And then the US.
Whoa. I can't move my neck how that guy moves his neck. Whoa. Favorite clip.
We get this big breakthrough in derivatives. The US has got the Chicago Board of Trade doing futures and options and all of this stuff. But we start to figure out more complicated structures, things like swaps. And the US stops its banks doing it by its use of regulatory capital. They're like, no, this is inefficient. You can't do this. The UK and Europe went, well, we're going to regulate and allow it to happen because it's big. We've seen this before. That becomes a quadrillion-dollar market.
Jesus.
That's why every single bank from about 1985, well, particularly after the Big Bang in London. So let's call it from about 1990 to about 2008, 2010, all the major banks' largest operations were London. So Goldman Sachs' biggest operation, most profitable, London. Merrill Lynch, London. Merrill Lynch is different because it was a brokerage firm. But JP Morgan, they were all London. So London, if you've been watching the news, is going to do the same thing. It's called regulatory arbitrage. London is putting together a very sensible set of crypto rules, as has Europe, as has Switzerland, as has Singapore, as has Hong Kong, as has Australia. Okay, there's its old trading group that it did with Eurodollars and it did with derivatives and it did with foreign exchange, all got their regulations in place. The UK is the hub at the middle and it will capture the lion's share. And before you know it, Coinbase, Gemini, and everybody will move to London.
All right, guys, there you go. There's the update on ISO. Now you have all of the dates. Instead of guessing, you actually have the facts. I hope this was helpful. If you liked the video, please hit like, share with somebody you know. I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Crypto Sensei. Aloha.